Hello and welcome to the Virtual Design Studio. The Virtual Design Studio is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's a way to do design with the internet, and there's sort of two ways you could interpret this concept or thing. The first way is you can take it as a way to interrogate the internet disconnect, which is the space between the real and the virtual. It's the things that get lost in translation, which is what I chose to do. So the concept I used to put through the process of the Virtual Design Studio was the internet disconnect. So that's the first way you can interpret or use this tool or series of processes. The second way you could interpret this is to use it like a process to generate concept. So if your concept is not the internet, if you're not interested in interrogating that internet disconnect, then you could pick any form of other concept or thing that you're interested in and just use the process that has been generated as a feedback loop in order to conceptualize what it is you're exploring or what you're trying to do, or use this as like a single step in a process for an alternative concept. What the Virtual Design Studio does is uses conversations and translations between internet tools in order to generate, essentially. And so I think there's a total of 10 lessons, and the first lesson is text synthesis. The second lesson is digital text synthesis. The third lesson will be generating images with the internet. The fourth lesson will be generating sound with the internet. The fifth lesson will be how to have a discussion with the internet about what you're trying to conceptualize or achieve. Lesson 6 will be image to render, so that's translating from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. Lesson 7 will be 3D rendering, so how to take that rendering that the internet has produced and sort of produce it in a program like Rhino or SketchUp in order to create that 3D rendering in a space. Lesson 8 will be a second kind of iteration of sound. Lesson 9 will be putting things into the third space, so taking all of the elements that have been produced up to that moment and collating them in order to create a virtual environment. And then there's also a brief introduction on the rules of the Virtual Design Studio. So for example, you let the internet do the design, and you can do the optimization of that design. So for example, if the internet is producing content and you're not sure what's valuable and what isn't, you're well within your rights to take that content and only give back to the bots what you think is relevant for your project, because there has to be an element of tailoring involved, because if you just let everything go straight back, you're not going to get a refined version of what you may require for your work. But ultimately, you let the internet do the design, you let it inspire you, and then you feed back to it in a series of loops in order to progress. So you might start on this first loop of just generating some text, and then you generate an image, so you're getting closer to what you want to do, and then slowly you sort of climb up this spiral staircase, doubling back on yourself, but you are progressing towards what it is that you're trying to conceptualize. So thank you for listening to this introduction, and hopefully you will enjoy the virtual design studio.